2, 1. Babagaroosh! What's up, smooth babies? Welcome to bittermarks. It's your favorite non-wrestling wrestling podcast coming to you every Friday morning at bittermarks.com or wherever you get your podcasts from. This is your first time checking us out? Thanks for being here. Feel free to email us any questions you may have about us, about professional wrestling, about Police Academy movies, anything you want. bittermarks@gmail.com. My name is Sasha. I'm one of the hosts here, and I am joined, as always, by my dear friend. I got nothing clever to say about him. He's just here again. He's the Dean Malenko of bad podcasts. It's Peewee.
Can't we be done with this already? Aren't we on episode like 104? Can't we? Isn't it time to wrap this thing up?
The podcast in general?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, we're running out of stuff here. I think by 111, which is great because I promised jokes at like 124.
I see. Okay, now you're motivated to call it quits.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll keep it going.
This is going downhill like the Utah Jazz airplane in a goose farm. And speaking of which, speaking of a bloody disaster, we are joined by the punctual prince of podcasting from parts unknown Illinois, back from contract negotiations. It's Producer Tony.
What's up, everybody? It's been a long time no talk.
What's going on? You went on vacation? You forced vacation, obviously.
Yeah, when you're going through a contract dispute like I was, it makes sense to get away from a little bit. And the wife and I are fully vaccinated, so we figured let's get the fuck out of here and just go somewhere for a week, and we did, and it was wonderful.
And awesome. What do you do for a full week's vacation? I've never taken, I don't think, longer than like a 3 or 4 day vacation. Just based on I'll run out of money.
Yeah, well, we've never taken a 7-day vacation before. Like even our honeymoon was like a 5-day kind of deal, right?
Okay.
So we actually knew a couple people that moved down there recently, so we stayed with them for a couple 2-3 nights, and then we did the rest at like a hotel on the beach, which worked out perfectly. We saved some cash, got to hang out, and then just relax at the end of the trip. So it was wonderful.
Were there a lot of people coughing and sneezing on you?
So it was very strange, right? You go through the airport, you have to wear a mask. You have to wear like a real mask. You can't wear like a gaiter or a bandana. So they're very, very strict, right? And then we land in South Carolina, and it's like 2 years ago. Like there's nobody wearing masks. Like there's no mandates at all in that state. So it was like the Wild West. And then
that's crazy.
Getting back on the plane, then you like we wore masks the whole time. Like we weren't trusting any of those goddamn yokels down there. So, but it was, it was fun.
Did you feel shamed for wearing a mask there?
There was a couple people here and there, but it wasn't everybody.
That's crazy. That's
like
even
here,
worse.
Right?
That's my biggest pet peeve with this whole thing. It's like, if you don't wear a mask, that's that's bad enough. But then to encourage other people not to wear masks, that's a whole nother thing.
I like the people.
Nobody said anything to us the whole trip. So
okay, that's good.
It was fine.
My favorite is talking to people who are like, I don't believe in this bullshit. This is all a hoax, which I run into a lot of these people because I am constantly in different warehouses and stuff.
And family members too. Yeah, I got a couple of those.
Oh yeah, I stopped talking to a lot of my family. Not even because of this, but it's just better for everyone's health. But you talk to someone and they're like, "Yeah, I don't believe in this bullshit," and they're like, "But my uncle died from it, so I don't know." I'm like, all right.
You're an idiot. Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not gonna take sides. Yeah. I will never
take a side.
I'm not gonna take a side. I'm clearly on the
side.
fence. I am on the fence about
You can play
COVID.
politician on this one, but I will stick with science.
I believe if I play politician, it's going to be a lot worse. But I will end up going to Cancun or something, so maybe I will play politician.
Win-win.
Whatever the next iteration of this show is, I don't know what it's going to be. Like we've done 100 episodes, and it was a certain type of show. It was a certain type of show for like 60 episodes, and then another type of show for about 40 episodes. And I do feel like we're headed in a new direction. I got new headphones because my last headphones died out on me. They were a gift from my dear friend Bellwood Bishop. for when I got married. He got me those headphones.
Oh wow, lasted a long time.
They did. They lasted forever, and now they're going out in one ear. And I'm trying to see if I could fix them. So I got these new headphones. We are adding this YouTube page now, so you can see our pretty faces. And as our dear friend Ivica at Kim Jong-il-matic pointed out, I do this weird neck thing where I'm constantly grabbing my neck. I'd like to thank Ivica for pointing that out. I would like to not thank Tony and Peewee for doing 103 episodes where they see me doing this. And
literally never noticed it. Never didn't notice it once.
Fantastic.
Well, half of those episodes, like your internet would like freeze, so like you could have been like doing anything. You could have been stroking. You could have been stroking anything, and we would not have noticed.
Oh, you'd notice. You would notice a lot, just by the noises that are hitting the microphone. But anyway, last week I wanted to say thank you to Ivica and thank you to Putski for joining us and hosting with us. It was awesome to have those guys on. And it really does bring like an additional something to the show, because I don't know. It was a lot of fun. And obviously Ivica and his they're all dead. I mean,
great.
That's already been entered in next year's PWI 500 as one of the 500 things.
So I listened to the episode while I was on my vacation, and then I heard about Ivica's one-man gang haircut. Oh, so I had to double back, and I watched the YouTube video.
Get those viewers, baby.
My God, that is amazing.
I'm shocked that you were able to see him, as that was one of the worst YouTube videos of all time, as half of his head was cut off, Ivica's. What we're going to call from this point on the one-man gangbang. I think that's pretty good.
Sure.
Episode title.
And then Peewee and Putski were sharing a microphone. Peewee, of course, was talking directly into a garbage can on the side of his home.
That's what I wanted to bring up. I wanted to apologize for that. We joked about that before we brought Putski on, because I didn't know how bad it sounded at the time. We joked that because, Tony, you weren't here last week, that the podcast, the episode was going to sound terrible, and we thought it would be fine. Only come to find out that yes, it in fact did sound terrible the moment that you stepped away.
So and the video is great too, because it's the video of the microphone, and you guys are both far away.
Sides.
So we see like one of your ears each, and that was about it.
Yeah,
check out our YouTube page, by the way.
I could tell the microphone was kind of angled at Putski, because those microphones are only like one direction, like the band, kind of.
Right.
So if you're behind it or off to the side, it's going to sound like ass, which it did. So good job.
And speaking of ass, I've been finding some gray hairs. Not on my ass. Don't worry about that. But I found an interesting picture I sent to you guys yesterday. I wanted to know what you guys thought of this, at least in your audio version. Found a picture of a man that was unrecognizable. The honky tonk man is completely gray, and we'll be sure to tweet that picture out, because that's something fun. Peewee, what did you think about the honky tonk man, since you've spent so much time with Brother Honky?
This picture was going around well before you sent it to us, so I'd seen it a million times. Hadn't heard from Long Time in a couple months, and he sent this to me. So him and I were joking back and forth. I don't care. I try not to joke about people in their old age. It's everybody's gonna get there. There's no sense in me making fun of somebody who's old if I'm gonna get there in 10 years.
Oh yeah, and I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying unrecognizable.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. He grew out his beard and didn't color his hair.
He has a pretty easily recognizable face. At least the honky tonk man. You know, like when you look at him, you're like, oh, that's definitely the honky tonk man, or somebody who probably like goes by a honky tonk man. Like even if it's not him, it's another guy. I just thought it was great. I'll tweet that picture out.
I appreciate the color of his hair. So like, I don't think I'm gonna like do like the salt and pepper thing. I think I'm gonna go like straight silver fox, kind of like what honky tonk. Or you seen Kevin Nash lately? You seen his hair?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or any member of the Bishop or his brother or her dad, they are honky gray. Can we
honky gray? Yes.
And it looks great on Bishop, by the way. I'm jealous of his hair. He came over, no joke, and I think I caught gray hair from him because ever since then I like saw a couple on my chest. There's some more on the side of my head.
There
But
you
he
go.
looks like a Ric Flair, like a young Ric Flair. It's a beautiful thing.
That's great.
Now this is very important news that I know you're going to have strong opinions on, both of you. Impact Wrestling has moved to Thursday nights, right? And then what was announced the day after? NXT moves to Tuesday nights because they're not afraid of Impact anymore. So that they can
It definitely wasn't the other way around, right?
Wow.
So no more wrestling war. It wasn't much of a war anyway. Things have changed a lot since like 20 years ago when there was a cool wrestling war going on. This has just kind of been like, meh, whatever. What are your strong opinions on this, Peewee? I know you have tons of strong opinions.
Right, exactly. This is going to completely change the way that I go about my week. No, I don't care. It's cool for the fans. You have wrestling Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday now. It's fine. It's spread out more than it was before. But everybody has DVR anyways. This doesn't matter. It's not.
I agree that I'm gonna cut off the audio version after you said I don't care.
Okay.
Like the people on the podcast watching on YouTube will be able to see this, like me telling this. But
Sure.
the whole point of that was for me to get a one-word answer from you. And mission accomplished. Drop the banner, gentlemen. Drop the banner.
We did it. So, like, was AEW like mopping the floor with them, or did they
winning
just
routinely? Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, constantly. Probably like 90% of the time they won. Both of the demographic that they were trying to get and the ratings in general.
Yeah. There were times where it was few and far between, but there was a handful of times that Dynamite beat Raw in the ratings. Obviously, they're not head to head. But the weekly ratings Wednesday compared to Monday, that Dynamite came out ahead, and the internet would blow up when that would happen.
Wow, I didn't know that happened.
It was only like 2 or 3 times, but it definitely did.
Was it during football season?
It was something like that, or
Yeah,
the dog show ran that week. Remember the dog show? Remember when they used to preempt Raw and it'd be pushed back like a week because the dog show?
I
You're
got the
showing
dog
me a VHS.
Show. Yep, dog show on this VHS. Right after this Packers-Bears game from 1993. So got that going for us. PWI 500 continues. Guys, this is the happiest I've ever been. The PWI 500 just keeps shattering expectations. Thank you once again. I have to keep thanking people because you don't know the amount of emails that I'm sending. Oh, you do, because you guys are people on the email list. I just keep bothering people. If you've said one thing about the PWI 500, I keep sending you emails, whether you want to be in this or not. My favorite is Putski.
How many people do you have? Go ahead. But eventually I want to know how many people you have contributing
Just
to
9.
the numbers.
9.
It's still 9. Okay.
Yeah. 9, which is a great number because it is odd. So if there's ever a 4-4 tie, it always comes down to the last guy. Last week we talked to Putski and we were talking about how he was not part of the people involved because he did not reach out to me.
Right. Yeah.
And so on the show, you were like, oh, well, you can be a part of it. And he was like, yeah, that'd be great. And I was like, you still got to email me because I'm going to forget. Well, I remembered and I sent him an email and then he did not respond to my email. However, I did text him later and Putski did vote for both rounds of it.
So somebody dropped out.
No. We were at 8 people before. And then Putski became the 9th.
Gotcha.
Megan was the tiebreaker. More on that in a moment here. But I've already started taking down submissions for next year's event. I told you guys about Ivica's Dead, They're All Dead, which is probably my favorite clip of all time on this show and will be the opening clip to this show from here on out. It's going to be that and then the Mamma Mia and then the bumper that we play.
That's great.
But some other things, like one thing that I forgot was the audio clip after the show. That should have been on there. That's at least like a 9 seed.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was a good
just
one.
because it's a staple, yeah.
And then the Pluto app. I believe the Pluto app was a solid 3 seed.
I've started, a side note, I've started watching Pluto. It is fantastic.
I know. My parentheses says, which Peewee is now watching, because I saw your tweet.
What did I tweet?
I don't know. You tweeted you're watching the American Gladiators channel or something.
Oh, that's yes. Oh, there's an American Gladiators channel, like
What?
not Hogan American Gladiators, but like OG original
like
American Gladiators.
Zap and Gemini
And Nitro and Laser.
Nitro.
Oh yeah, and Larry Zonka and Mike Adamle. Oh yeah,
Mike Adamle. Yeah.
I'm all in.
My favorite was the gauntlet where they shoot the tennis balls with the cannons at the
assault.
Assault. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
My favorite was Larry Thompson, the referee. Gladiator ready.
And I guess that could also be the title of this episode. We are down to the final 8 competitors in the PWI 500. Chiseled down, gentlemen. It's been tough. It has been very tough. So here's the final 4 matchups. We have Jerry Lynn, the interview with Jerry Lynn, taking on Peewee's Joke of the Week theme.
Oh, I don't like that matchup.
We have Hattori Hanzo's emails versus Billy Joe Travis.
Ooh.
I don't like that matchup. We have episode artwork versus Dead or Alive.
That's gonna be a runaway.
And this one, Megan even said, "Oh, that's a good one." And I'm like, how do you know? How do you know? But the final one is producer Tony's hatred of Steve Blackman, which my wife somehow knows about, versus producer Tony t-shirts. You have to eliminate yourself. That's a tough one for you,
That's
producer
tough.
Tony.
I am shocked that the Vince McMahon impression is no longer on the list.
Yeah, it was eliminated. I can find out. It lost to the Dead or Alive segment.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
I'm cool with that.
No. That's you're completely undervaluing that Vince impression.
See, I don't think it's that good.
It doesn't matter. I'm not saying it's a dead-on impression. It's just hilarious.
But anyway, so there's 8 teams left or whatever. By next week, on next week's episode, we will announce the final 4 and then the final 2 and the winner. So it's all over as of next week. So we have some content, fellas. We got it.
Sounds good. I'm excited.
Producer Tony, I'm gonna need you to get like a drum roll, like clip, if you can do that, or if you can just get a drum and like play it for us live. That would also be equally acceptable.
Okay, I'll work on that.
This next question is a question that I brought up to you guys today, and I don't expect producer Tony to have an answer. But there is a reason why I asked this question, which I will get to at the very end of it, because it was something I was thinking about. But I wanted to talk about favorite and least favorite Japanese wrestlers.
Okay.
The reason why I'm asking this, like I said, I will tell you in a little bit, but I kind of figure like, I mean, you guys know like Hayabusa is one of my favorite, if not my favorite of all time, probably. We all know producer Tony is a Funaki guy.
Dude,
Peewee,
stealing my thunder here, bro. Come on.
I mean, that's a given.
That Funaki should have been in the goddamn PWI 500.
Next year. Peewee, who's some of your favorite Japanese wrestlers?
Are we just going off of guys that wrestle in Japan, or are we going off of ethnicity?
Yeah, like either way. So whether it's guys who wrestled in WWE or WWF or ECW or I don't know, did USWA ever? I feel like the USWA wouldn't have had a Japanese guy, but they would have done some weird Japanese stuff that would get them in trouble.
I was going to ask, do 01 and 02 count?
Sure.
Fantastic.
Sure. Actually, one of the zeros messaged me this week, actually. How about that?
The number one on my list, not my favorite overall, just the first guy that came to mind was Tanahashi. He's the current guy in New Japan right now. I just think he's their John Cena. He's like their ultimate babyface guy. There's no better look than Tanahashi. He's got long, flowing hair. The guy's chiseled out of stone. The guy he looks like $1 million. He's got tons of personality. Comes to the ring air guitaring. I mean, I love the guy.
Are your other guys also like
it's
current?
all over. No, it's all over.
So do you have any more current New Japan guys?
Yeah, I also put Naito and Ibushi. And Does Kikutaro still wrestle? Is he current?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if he's Japanese. I have no clue.
I'm just going off of where he's located. Yeah, he wears a mask. I have no idea what he looks like.
That's hilarious and awesome, and a like odd reference as well. We should probably tweet out a picture of him because it's definitely well worth it. I believe he wrestled Orange Cassidy recently.
Oh, that'd be good. Okay.
Recently being the last 2-3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, what else you got?
An oldie but a goodie was the tape trading days. I would get some random tapes from Japan, and I would get one of my favorite promotions to watch would be Flippy stuff. Because back when I was tape trading in 1999, 1998, I couldn't see Flippy stuff every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday like you can now. So I love the promotion called Toryumon. And in Toryumon, the number one guy was the guy who he was like the Ultimo Dragon's protege. He wore a very similar Ultimo Dragon mask, but he was a lot smaller, and his name was Dragon Kid. He's the guy that you might know this, and Tony, you might even know this. He's the guy who originated, and possibly the only guy who would actually do the move from No Mercy when you throw him into you throw your opponent into the turnbuckle and hard grapple the guy. You would smash him into the turnbuckle so the opponent would woozily go to the middle of the ring. Meanwhile, your guy would climb to the top rope. He would then do a somersault in the air, jump off, do a somersault, land on the guy's shoulders, and then do a Hurricane Rana into a pin. And the guy would do it he'd do it for real. Like, it's more than a video game move. The video game got it from Dragon Kid.
I kind of remember the name, but I definitely don't remember the look.
I could tweet out some Flippy stuff of Dragon Kid.
I guess I'll start following our page then.
There you go. Other guys I had where you want me to just finish up?
Yeah.
Okay. Hayabusa actually didn't come to mind, but he would be on my list. Same thing with Jushin Thunder Liger. Love that guy. And my number one Japanese wrestler is Kenta Kobashi. It's mainly just because he had that big cancer scare. He was one of the, if you don't know, he was one of the 4 pillars of Japanese wrestling back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and well before then too. It was,
and then he turned into the hot dog eating champion. That is correct.
God damn it, different Kobashi.
Yeah.
So he had a cancer scare, had to retire, and did so prematurely because he overcame the cancer. And you know me, I'm a big sucker for reactions. The reaction he gets for his return match, the place comes unglued. And then when he finally does have to retire, it's another time where just the reaction is just like tear-jerkingly sad and emotional. And it's I love the guy. And plus his work in the ring is phenomenal. Like, he's just a big, thick guy who beats people up.
That's great. Producer Tony, do you have people on your list outside of Funaki?
Well, you kind of just ruined it. I was going to come in with the Funaki reference, and you just bulldozed it.
Takamichinoku, we got Dick Togo.
Yeah, all of Kaientai.
What about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat? Isn't he like somewhat Japanese? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's racist.
He could absolutely be Italian and nothing but Italian, but he at least had a Japanese gimmick.
Wait, doesn't he have like a name like Chet Jones is like his real name or something?
Mike Wazowski is his fucking name.
Can we look it up? I'm pretty sure he's got like a or it's like Bobby Thourogood or like I swear he's got a weird name like that.
Fuck you guys. Born to a Japanese mother and an English father.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I would have guessed he was like Samoan or Pacific
Richard
Island.
Henry Blood is his name.
Oh yeah, so that's like a great wrestling name already.
Dick Blood. Yes.
Oh my god.
Now there's your episode title right there. Yeah, I mean, I watched him when I was a kid, and he was great back in the day. So
Yoko too. I mean, Yoko's not legitimately Japanese, but he had a Japanese gimmick. Yokozuna was great.
Yeah, good call.
I
would with this. He was not Japanese. Did you say where are we going with this?
Yes, absolutely.
Don't worry, we'll get there. Let me just tell you like my favorites, and then we'll get to the whatever the reason why I brought this up. Listen, I'm trying to bring content, fellas.
Very much appreciate it.
Try and come up with stuff. So anyway, Hayabusa is probably my favorite of all time. except when like him and Jinsei Shinzaki, aka Hakushi, came to ECW. They wrestled a match against RVD and Sabu, which like should be on paper like my favorite match of all time, and it just was not a good match. But like all of his Japanese stuff, and then like he should have died from wrestling, and then I'm pretty sure he did die of wrestling, right?
Correct.
Didn't he, like,
yes, that's
like
a very off-color comment that you just made. Yes.
Oh well,
he did die in the ring. Yes.
yeah, no, I don't know that that's true. Didn't he got paralyzed?
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I can look it up real quick to confirm, but he definitely had a career-ending injury in the match. I just don't know how quickly his life was ended after the injury.
I believe he was paralyzed, and I believe he came back and walked with a cane, like into the ring, and got like a 50 standing ovation, which I don't know what the actual time limit standing ovation was, but there's like a video of it. I want to say that was Hayabusa, but anyway. Great Sasuke was another one for me. And the reason why I like those guys, like you're saying, they're flippy guys or whatever, but the stuff that they were doing 20 years ago was just out of this world. You've never seen it before. And so like, I don't know, to me, it was the best stuff there was. I was not a huge Jushin Thunder Liger guy.
Oh.
But I liked his matches. I liked him in WCW. He wasn't like one of my favorites or whatever. But I got to see him wrestle a couple of years ago at Ring of Honor, which was really cool. Literally like 3 years ago, maybe. So then I started thinking, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was about to say you should go back and watch Jushin Liger against Brian Pillman. I think it's the very first episode of Nitro. They might open the show. Like they were literally the first match on Nitro. And then I realized that I believe the network at this point is completely gone.
Oh yeah.
And there's no way to watch old Nitros at this point.
There is. I have a garage full of
VHS tapes. Yeah.
Touche.
The other names that I was thinking currently, Minoru Suzuki, just because I've never seen anyone like him. Not that I love his style. I prefer
good gimmick, yeah.
Ishii. Like I love, if we're talking about guys who butt heads and are like tough guys, Ishii to me is like the guy. He's like a little pit bull. I love his matches. But I was interested to see if you were going to bring up guys like Misawa and Kawada, who had, ridiculous matches where they beat
two of the other pillars of the Japanese wrestling, yeah.
Or like Giant Baba or Antonio Inoki or any of those guys.
I like Giant Baba just because anytime somebody makes a wrestling food reference, like, hey, give me some wrestling. I'm having a party and doing wrestling themed foods. I can't think, like, I'm making corn and I'm going to make it like Jim Cornette's corn on the cob. My suggestion is always Giant Baba Ganoush.
Is that the second Baba Ganoush reference on this show?
Yes, it is.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, we have a smorgasbord of Baba Ganoush references. That's a
reference Tony does not understand.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And the only other name that came to my mind was Great Muta, who was
good call.
The first Japanese guys I remember because he was around in WCW in the early days. So now, can you give me your least favorite Japanese wrestlers?
Zack Sabre Jr., if he counts.
Does not count.
Okay, he wrestles in Japan solely.
He adds to my point, though.
Okay.
Will Ospreay, is that another one here?
Yeah, there you go. No, the legitimate guys. I don't like Evil. Evil and this other guy have kind of fall into the same category. The other guy I have is Takahashi. I also get name-wise, I get confused with Tanahashi all the time. But one is my one of my favorites. The other one is my least favorites. I just think both Evil and Takahashi don't have great wrestling looks. To me, neither one of them really look too menacing. Even though the guy's name is Evil, I don't like the purple streaks in his hair. I don't like his physique. I just don't like his overall presentation of himself. And because of that, I can't get into it.
Is there anyone else in your list?
No, it was real short. I don't know enough about Japanese wrestling to not like somebody.
I disagree. I think you know enough about Japanese wrestling and you've watched it for a long enough time. I don't have a list of Japanese guys I don't like.
Okay.
That is the reason why I brought this up, was because I was like, who's the Bret Hart of Japan? Like, who?
But is that because you don't follow it and you don't know enough?
I don't know. Like, I would think that over all these years of wrestling, that I could at least pick one guy who's my Steve Blackman or my Bret Hart.
Yes, but think about how many storylines and angles you can name from the American side and American wrestling versus how many storylines and angles and characters you can recognize from Japanese wrestling. Like, is the number similar? To me, for me, it's night and day. It's nowhere even close.
No, but like, I know 3 Irish wrestlers, and they're all my least favorite wrestlers of all time. Like, I don't like Sheamus.
Okay.
I take it back. Fit Finley's like one of the best ever. But
where does Mickey Doyle fall on this list? I just think it has a lot to do. Like, you learn about guys when you follow their storylines, and whether that's good or bad, whether they become your favorite or your least favorite, you at least learn more about them. And by learning about them, you can. I think right now you're only reading the good press about people. You know what I mean? You're not because it's not news. You're not reading about the duds on the shows. You're not reading about the stuff that you wouldn't like. It's something that nothing really rubs you the wrong way. Like you're.
But there's also like these guys who came to NXT who were supposed to be big deals, or even the guy Kenzo. I forgot his name, but he was on SmackDown.
Amore.
No, Clever. But these guys who came in and didn't do anything in the WWE.
Okay.
Even like what's his name? The guy who dresses like a ninja now. Like, they made him.
It's Sasa, yeah.
There's guys with awful gimmicks or who have done nothing, but I don't have like a negative opinion on those guys. You know what? I know that you guys are looking at me and you're saying, "Can we move on?" And I don't want to talk about this anymore. And we're gonna do that. But I am going to find more nationalities of wrestlers and then tell you which ones I don't like out of all the other nationalities.
Okay. And then we'll have the guessing game of, is that person really of that ethnicity? Or yeah.
But I think the best thing that we learned today is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's name is Dick Blood. So
absolutely.
Ouch.
Found some 8mm tapes. My parents gave me 8mm tapes to transfer over these family
to get them transferred to VHS. Yeah,
basically to get them transferred to DVD so they can watch them. I found an 8mm camera at Goodwill for $6.99, and so I'm like, yeah, I can transfer these to you. So I've been transferring all these family tapes from 30 years ago in Yugoslavia, like my dad holding a tape filming goats and stuff, like all this crazy stuff and weddings and whatever. And there was one tape on there that said wrestling talk show along with DJO mockery. So I popped this tape in immediately and forget about what my parents asked me to do. And I turn it on, and it's a talk show with our dear friend Ivica at Kim Jong-il-matic, with our dear friend Bellwood Bishop, with our dear friend King Worm, and their little brother Alex. And it's kind of tough to watch because we all have baby nuts. Like our voices are like small women,
Okay.
And I believe the first question asked by I'm not even going to say who, but one person asked another person, should Goldberg have a Star of David on his tights? And then it goes on from there. Okay. And so obviously I'm not going to be posting that because it's it's awful.
Poor taste, yes.
Yeah, of course we were all like 15, 16, 17, whatever, however old we were. And it gets even worse than that. Maybe I'll pull some sound clips and we'll use them on future shows.
Perfect. Great.
But and then that led to a DJO mockery. DJO, if you'll remember, our dear friend Ivica told us, was the rival backyard fed. Like the DJO was with this guy DJ, and our friend Santino was there, and Chicago comedian Jim Flanagan was part of the DJO.
Amazing.
And our dear friend Giuseppe in Hollywood was part of the DJO.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
And so we did like a mock. Oh yeah, and another guy named Heavy D, who had a brother named Heavier D. Like one of them was in it. And the other one just opened a barber shop in like the neighborhood I live in, which is like insane. But anyway, I immediately throw this out. Like, I'm not putting this on the internet. And then today my mom calls me and she goes, you have 5 more of these 8mm tapes. And she sends a picture and they all say best of DuPage County. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5. And the stuff on here is ridiculous. Apparently, there's commercials from the DCWA.
Commercials.
Yeah.
What does
No
that
clue.
mean?
Haven't looked at them. But it's in between my dad's 40th birthday party and something that says wrestling figures. So interested to see that. There's also
who was recording this? Were you recording it using your parents' 8mm camera? How did this get recorded on 8mm?
I'm assuming because I used to record everything on that camera, and then I bought one of those small tape cameras with the DV.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called, the smaller tapes or whatever. But I've always had some sort of cameras that like I would record stuff. I have stuff from DeKalb. Like we went to a party in DeKalb one time. We saw this band Stale Chofley play in a basement. You were there. You were in the video. You were like,
he does
Don't
not
remember
remember
it.
that.
Don't remember that. Yeah.
No
that
chance.
will be posted to our YouTube page. Check that out.
Great.
Whatever.
For that and Sasha's family reunion. Great.
Family reunion. Summer of Death 1 on 8mm tape, by the way.
But does that also exist on VHS?
It will shortly.
Well,
My mom
I understand
gave
it
me a
will.
6-pack of brand new VHS tapes. And then there's something on there called The Sasha Show, July 1st, 1998.
Wow.
No clue. No clue what this is.
98. Oh, you're 16 at the time, right?
Just turned 16.
Okay, interesting.
So look for the DCWA archive page for this. But this leads us to the more important discussion that we need to have. Listen, this show is all fun and games, but then we have to talk VHS. Guys, I haven't
talk about this on both podcasts is ridiculous.
I love that we went through like the trading card phase of this podcast, and now we're in the middle of the VHS phase of this podcast.
This is life. This is
peaks and valleys, right? This is definitely a peak.
Yeah, I believe we're just constantly at a peak. So I haven't slept one day since Bishop dropped these VHS tapes. I wanted to obviously sell these things, and they do go for anywhere like 10, 20, 30 bucks. Some of them more expensive because there are some, like decent old in good condition tapes that he gave me, masters, not recorded tapes, like master tapes. And then, of course, we've talked about I wanted at one point a Coliseum video. I thought it'd be cool to collect them. And I'm like, no. And then now I have a bunch of them. And I'm like, oh, but maybe.
Oh, boy.
And I'm not. I say I'm not going to, right? But then I was thinking, like, do you think there's ever a chance? And it's currently going on. Like, I thought of this before what currently is going on is happening. But do you think there's a chance that they ever take down WCW or ECW off the network or any of this?
So Tony, if you're unaware, the network right now is switching from being on its own network to switch over to Peacock. And they're only updating or only uploading stuff after they have these poor interns go through every show. And then as long as it's suitable for NBC television, then they upload it. If not, they edit it. So
NBC is the one in charge of picking the content. Not
I can't believe that Vince let them do that.
$1 billion.
I can't believe it.
It's
I literally can't believe it.
You can't believe that. Imagine being the intern who has to now come across Mae Young giving birth to a hand, who has to come across Kai and Tai and Val Venus. The amount of they're going to be a jump in Raws. You're going to have like Raw May 1995, and then the next one available is going to be like Raw 2002.
Well, he's such a control freak of everything, right? I just can't believe that he let somebody else edit his backlog. That just blows my fucking mind that he would do that.
I kind of wonder if like they even consider that. You know what I mean? Like there's still a carny operation in some sorts. Like
Absolutely.
True. NBC took over. They paid $1 billion for this stuff. They can do what they want. So they've already taken off stuff like Roddy Piper in blackface, half.
I was gonna say there's probably a couple instances of blackface at least.
Yeah, and Vince using the N-word has been taken off, and they've done this for other things.
Thing is ridiculous, but yes.
The other they've taken things off of other shows. Like someone was in blackface on a 30 Rock episode. They've taken those off. They've taken out some of the poor taste SNL stuff from back in the day that just doesn't translate to today.
There's blackface in The Office that got removed. It's on every show they have. So is your question, are these VHS going to be available? Like, are they going to be profitable even more so because the network doesn't exist as it used to, because you don't have access to the full amount of content that WWE used to provide?
I guess let me read this, because we did get an email from Hattori Hanzo, which we've already kind of talked about it, but I do want to read it because the subject line is "fuck Peacock."
Okay, there you go.
He says the value of the network is the library, the vault of classic wrestling. How much of it will be left after NBC redacts everything that offends millennials? Is it time to rebel and bootleg VHS tapes? Be kind, rewind. Piper lives whether NBC likes it or not. I love him going after the millennials. I love that, especially since he looks like he would be storming the Capitol, our dear friend Hattori Hanzo. But I don't know. Okay, so I have all these VHS tapes, right? And ideally, the better thing to do, because I'm also a DVD guy, if I'm worried about this, ideally I would get the DVDs of anything that I want.
If anything's going to go up in value, it's going to be DVDs.
However, VHS has little commercials before the VHS starts that are not on the DVD.
I'm not saying it's worthless. Absolutely. It definitely has value, but I'm just saying if there's going to be a boom, you're going to see it in DVDs first. And then I think
however, not all events are available on DVD.
That doesn't mean anybody's going out and buying a VHS player. I still think there's a market for VHS, but I don't think it has anything to do with the market, with the network going down. I think a WWE or wrestling VHS market is just a wrestling VHS market. Like, guys like to collect that stuff. I don't think they're collecting it because they don't have access to it on the network. I think they're collecting it because it's cool to collect.
I'm not asking about the money aspect. I'm asking for preservation of my youth. Like, we will not be able to find a lot of stuff going forward. If I want to watch something, it will be taken out of DVDs. Like, some stuff could already, like I'm saying, some stuff is not on DVD whatsoever. So you can't get that. And if it's not on the network and it's not on a DVD, I have a VHS that shows whatever. I mean, is that enough for me to keep it? Is what I'm saying.
I gotcha. I mean, are you willing to go through all the work to cross-reference everything to see what's available and what's not?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Right. You're never gonna get that far. It's a moot point.
We need some interns.
You're right. You're right too. All right, then. But they're so hard to get rid of.
I mean, if they're worth $30 a piece, they shouldn't be that hard to get rid of. Start listing them. I'll yell at you on Friday.
All right, what else do we have? All right, we got an email, another email, a non-VHS related email. This email comes from our dear friend Putsky. He says, greetings and hello, gentlemen. Thank you for having me on the podcast last week. It was a gas. God damn you, Paul Roma, for being alive. Putsky is the Paul Roma of this podcast. He is our fourth horseman, who everyone questions. Anywho, before everyone was slapping their thighs and spearing each other, the finishing move from out of nowhere was the nuts. I don't know what that means. I remember seeing the Dudleys 3D manifesting itself from out of nowhere. What are some of your favorite out of nowhere finishing moves? Thank you, Putsky. P.S. I really like my poster. Thank you.
Cool. Good question. I don't think we've ever talked about this specifically. Did anything come to mind for you?
Things that came to mind to me are DDT, because that's like
that's a good one.
As easy as it gets, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, probably the stunner or the
stunner.
Yeah,
cutter. Exactly.
And I'm like, oh wait, that's basically
that's what he referenced already. The diamond cutter specifically. Stunner was on my list just because it's something that you can hit. Anything you can hit quickly, and if it can be hit quickly, it can be hit out of nowhere.
And there's something that you can hit quickly, but it was never hit quickly. Sweet chin music.
That's super kicks are on my list.
because they can be quick, but the way that the sweet chin music was used,
sweet chin music is not a super kick. He goes to the corner and tunes it up for 30 seconds before he hits it. Yeah.
That's why I kind of hesitated to put that on the list.
Okay, I agree with you.
What else you got?
I got one. Not because I like the wrestler, but Randy Orton's RKO, just for the memes that came out of that.
That's what Putski's talking about. He's like, what's like that, but not that? Or at least I assume that's what he's saying, right?
Yeah, essentially. He referenced the 3D, but I mean, it's the same thing. But either way, I think Tony's right. The RKO is the epitome of this question. Like it's the obvious answer, which is why it brings it up.
It is the number one Family Feud answer for sure.
Right. Diamond Dallas Page was not wrong when he said he could hit it out of anywhere, because it's not only was he hitting it out of any move, but also Randy Orton continues to hit it out of any move, and
DDP was like 75 at the time, so like it doesn't even matter what age you are. I wanted to ask you about one that it's current. It is Drew McIntyre and the Claymore kick, and what you think about that.
Yeah, I almost put like a clothesline from hell or just a giant clothesline on my list, but a big flying boot is the same thing.
I dig it. You know why? Because he comes at it like straight forward. It's not like a sideways. It's not the side, like a spinning heel kick. It is a straightforward kick. He's a large, massive man. It looks like it would be a finishing move.
It looks like a shotgun blast.
Yeah, super easy to hit. Plus, he does did for a while, like a countdown to it. So he made a kick into something that is just like, and you can hit it from out of nowhere.
I like the Rainmaker. It's not really out of nowhere, but I do like the spots that they do when it's chain wrestle, blah, 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 roll around on the ground. Oh my God, he's got his wrist, and then turn around into a short arm clothesline.
Yeah, and the Rainmaker is Okada holding the wrist and then just pulling the guy to do a clothesline for it. For those who don't know, but yeah, exactly. The way they tease it is really special, actually. Like it's a cool thing to see. The stuff they did with Kenny Omega, and they would
all
tease
that stuff. They got over wrist control. Like you know what I mean? Grabbing somebody's wrist, they made a big deal out of that. That's not an easy thing to do.
And then we got one more question this week. And this question comes from me, fellas. I've been thinking about this question for a very long time, and I don't think it's ever come up on the show. Rob Van Dam is in the WWE Hall of Fame as of this week. So who do you guys think will be the next ECW star to go into the WWE Hall of Fame?
I have to change my bitter.
Go ahead, Peewee. Why don't you tell us first?
I think it's got to be Paul Heyman.
Oh, I like that. That's very good. Was that your pick? Okay, so the whole joke, if you're not getting the inside joke, is because this was Peewee's question that he apparently asked me to put on the show many weeks ago, which I completely ignored, and he brought up on the show last week. So now I am taking it and going with it as my own. So that was a great question by me. All that being said, is that the person that you were going to say originally?
Yeah, I absolutely. I think
gotta be.
The more I think about it, it's like, well, Paul could still be there. If he's still there, they might hold off on putting him in. The only other guys that are up for it that would be like eligible as far as if they're not acknowledging their ECW reference and they're just going on their like WWE impact, it's got to be the Dudley Boys.
Oh yeah, that's a great one too.
Yeah, it's just because they were so over in WWE, and they were huge in ECW. They were massive. They defined ECW, but yeah, they're right up there with RVD.
You're exactly right, and those are guys who RVD didn't have the greatest relationship the first time around with the WWE because he got caught with Sabu or whatever. And so they took the title off of him and blah, blah, blah. He left. He went to TNA, and then he came back. Paul Heyman has been there since, even before, like when ECW was still going on.
That's
he
true.
was basically a part of the WWE and is still there and was always there.
Yeah.
And the Dudleys is a great one that didn't even cross my mind. I was thinking of all the other people, and I was like, okay, Tommy Dreamer I could see because he was important for ECW.
That
But
was
now
I
he's
was
an
gonna say,
Impact.
yeah.
Yeah, now he's an Impact. Would that matter? Like, or would they bring him in to do it? Plus, he worked in the office of WWE for a long time. He did other stuff. But when you think of guys like Taz, okay, they're not going to bring in Taz, not right now. He's on the other program. They're not going to bring in Sabu, and Sabu's probably not going to come in even if they do
Right.
want to bring him in. Sandman, I mean, he'll come in. I just don't think Sandman would be like the next guy on the list. I don't
What
think.
about, and maybe he's already in actually, but what about Terry Funk?
Oh yeah, good question. I don't know what the Funk's eligibility is.
Yeah.
Terrence Endurance.
Well, I can think of one guy, and like not because they want to put him in, just they're afraid of what will happen if he doesn't get in, and that's New Jack.
Yeah.
Like if he shows
That
up
would be great.
at WWE Hall of Fame ceremony, he's in. Okay, he's in.
Like Spike Dudley spent a lot of time there too, but I don't know if he's like the first guy you want to bring in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lance Storm also had a good run with them and did stuff backstage, and like decent WWE run. Is he a performance center guy, or did he get fired from that?
He got let go. He got furlonged. Furlonged? Am I pronouncing that right?
No,
I believe it's furloughed. Furlonged would be if you were in the Terminator movies, I believe.
Okay, there you go.
And then the only other name I could think of, this has a possibility just because he's been everywhere, but Raven.
Oh, sure.
I don't know what.
I don't think over some of the other guys that we've listed, but yeah, eventually.
Yeah, I don't know what his relationship is with the WWE either, or in wrestling in general. And then obviously JT Smith to.
Oh, absolutely. And then right behind him, Kurt. Right.
There we go. Curtis.
Would Jericho be eligible since?
Oh, that's interesting. Like
he was there.
He was there. He would be, I mean, technically a guy from ECW, which makes me think like have there been
all
guys,
three, right?
Like Scott Hall was in the ECW. Like
so was Sid. So was Sid.
But was Sid already inducted?
I think he's a 6-time Hall of Fame member. I think they just keep inducting Sid.
Can't be true. If that's okay, let's. I don't know if that's true or not, but at least Scott Hall has definitely been inducted a couple times.
Sid,
and he's
Psycho Sid, Crazy Sid,
yeah,
USWA Sid.
Thank you.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough of this episode. We need to get out of here. It's been enough, gentlemen. Next week on the show, I believe it's our two-year anniversary, possibly.
Huge celebration coming up. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, but also next weekend is WrestleMania. So maybe we talk about some WrestleMania moments, or maybe we talk about what was better, America's Funniest Home Videos with Bob Saget, or America's Funniest People with Dave Coulier. And you remember those weird jackalope videos?
Oh, yeah.
That was the best stuff ever. We got to put that on our YouTube page. That needs to go on our YouTube page. I wanted to send a shout out to our dear friend Suave, who had a baby girl this week. And if you're interested, last week and this week, I will be co-hosting the STF Underground podcast with Dan Rhino. What's making me bitter this week is the WWE breaking up the Hurt Business, as it's like the only thing that I enjoy on Raw. I didn't watch it happen because I don't really watch Raw too much, but apparently that happened. At least Bobby Lashley is still the champion. They also broke up Retribution, so rest in peace, Slapnuts and T-Jacks and 1990s rapper Mace. We'll miss you guys. Peewee, what's making you bitter this week?
It was too soon after the last segment, so I'm just going to read exactly what I wrote previously. I had one and then was asked not to mention this person anymore, so I'm going to pass, but I will be looking forward to my ECW Hall of Fame segment in the next couple weeks.
Producer Tony, what's making you bitter this week?
Seasonal allergies. Came back from my vacation, and the next day I was just wrecked with seasonal allergies. You guys have seen me when I have them, and it's awful.
Rough.
And it was the entire day, and I think, I'm just allergic to Steve Blackman.
We could have done a PWI on just Tony's bitters, and like most of them would be allergies and weather.
It's awful. It sucks. It ruins my life.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/bittermarks. New episodes drop every Friday morning, bittermarks.com. Check us out on AOL, keyword bitter. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram @bittermarks. Email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. And last but not least, buy our shirts, prowrestlingtees.com/bittermarkscom. That's COM, as in Menudo, Latino boy band. Peewee, producer Tony. See you guys next week.
Is 205 Live still a thing?
Bye.